We'd like to welcome you guys here to view a video demo of the L3 Harris 7 Series trucking sim. During this video, we're going to go ahead and introduce the student to the simulator and show you some of the key features on the trucking sim. After that, we're going to have them drive several scenarios. One of those drives will be an acclimation drive. So we always say it's important to acclimate the student to the simulator environment. As part of this acclimation drive, we introduce them to the different key components of the driving sim, as well as having them do an acclimation drive. One thing that we like to point out is that the simulator is not an exactinator or a duplicator, so it is a trucking sim. The advantages, though, of having a sim versus driving around in the real world is it allows you to give your students a standardized experiential hands-on learning, and so they can do this in a safe and controlled environment. Once they do that, it's going to be able to allow you to train the different habits and behaviors that you want to teach your drivers. 95% of all accidents happen because of drivers making poor decisions, and so if we can teach them the right habits to begin with and train those in the simulator, it's more likely to happen in the real world. We've got Jeff here, who's going to be driving for us. To introduce you to some of the key features of this. First, we have the seat here. It's fully adjustable, so depending on your students, you can adjust it to where they need. We do recommend that you do that when the student's out of the seat. Once he's seated, he's going to go ahead and fasten his seat belt. He's already done that here. That will actually engage the motion-based platform here for us. So what the motion-based platform is, I'll explain that a little bit, is when the student's driving, that's going to allow them to feel the motion in the vehicle. So if they come to a stop real fast, you're going to feel it push forward. If they accelerate fast, they're going to go back. If they were to go over a curve or anything like that, then they're going to feel that in the motion D box. So moving around here, you can see that we've got the steering wheel here, and we actually like to use the parts from actual vehicles. So you can see this is a Freightliner steering wheel. He's got his window wipers here. He's got lights, key and ignition down there. If we move over here to the right side, you have the automatic shifter. You also have a manual shifter here for those fleets that are still using a manual. And we have everything as far as what vehicles you're driving. So one of the key features of this is we do feature a glass dash. So this glass dash will reconfigure according to the vehicle that you are driving. You also have your levers here for your trailer air supply and your parking brake, so he can work with those. You also have forced air here that actually works, so I always like to turn that on for the student. It's a nice feature for them. And then you can see we also have surround sound, so it's an immersive 5.1 surround sound that gives the student that feeling of the sound there. And then you can see the three 55-inch displays here. One thing we like to point out as the student is driving, they should be looking out of the display, not at the display. So one thing that's you want your students to acclimate to is looking out just like they would in a real windshield, instead of just looking at it like a TV screen. So at this point, we're going to turn it over to Jeff to drive our scenario. Once the students completed their drive, they are going to receive what's called a bubble report. So you can see this on the left here. With the bubble report, it's going to score them on the different skills that we were training. You can see here that he had no startup violations, no speed management issues, but there was a couple of violations with following distance. In the scenarios, they're going to receive a bubble report every time once the drive has been completed. With these bubble reports, you can save them, you can print them off and keep them to a student's profile. That way you can track performance. There also is a more in-depth assessment that is available as well, but for most drives, the bubble report is going to be sufficient for tracking student performance.